Right. Captains. Okay. So the way is there a video tutorial for this? It might be in Game Basics. It might be in Economy a little bit. So go and watch those as well. But so the way that the captains work, a captain, so that it gets a little bit confusing with the terminology that players use and the terminology that the game uses. But there are two different kinds of training for captains. One is like the skills. But the skills are split into the 5 classes. And so if I have a 10-point captain like this one, so Conrad here has 10 points, I can. I know this isn't your question, by the way, but I have to explain this bit so I can explain the other bit. So the captain has 10 points, and you can spend those 10 points in each of the classes. So in total, effectively, Conrad here has 50 points. 10 for submarines, 10 for destroyers, 10 for cruisers, 10 for battleships, and 10 for aircraft carriers. So I can have different skills in each of these tables. This captain happens to not have any skills on the other 4, because I've just never used it. But if I put him on a destroyer, I could spec destroyer skills. And if I gain a point, so when I get to the top of the bar and I gain another point, I get 1 point to spend on each one of these tables. And a captain can have submarine skills, destroyer skills, cruiser skills, battleship skills, and aircraft carrier skills simultaneously. So you can have a separate table. So if I go to a different captain that I know that I've used on other ships, for example, of course I'm not going to find one now. All right, so Halsey I use on all sorts of things. So he's currently sitting on a cruiser. So these are his cruiser skills, but he also is set up for destroyers, and he's also set up for battleships, and he's probably also set up for carriers. No, okay, but he's got skills for these 3. So he's got 21 points spent on destroyers, 21 points spent on cruisers, and 21 points spent on battleships. So he's currently sitting on Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a special ship. Okay, and for the purposes of captains, special ships and premium ships are the same thing. So if you see behind me here, the wreath that goes around the ship class there is gold. If the wreath is gold, it doesn't matter whether it's a premium or a special. That is one type of ship, and then the other type of ship is researchable, where the wreath is white. Okay, so a tech tree ship has a white wreath and a white symbol. A special ship has a gold wreath and a white symbol, and a premium ship has a gold wreath and a gold symbol. All you care about for the commanders and moving them around is the color of the wreath. So if the wreath is gold, it's a premium or a special. That's one class of ship. And then the other type of ship is tech tree ships. Why do you need to know that? Because a commander can be trained, and when I say trained, I don't mean this kind of training. I mean a different kind of training. A captain can be trained on, think about it as like how to drive. Like they've got their driver's license for one ship at a time. That ship is usually a tech tree ship. So, for example, Halsey here is my Des Moines captain. Okay, so he's my Des Moines captain. That's the only tech tree ship that he is trained on. It's the only tech tree ship that he can be trained on. If I want to move Halsey from Des Moines to a different tech tree ship, and a better way to think of this would be to think of it more from the point of view of more of a beginner. So let's say I'm grinding a line. Let's say I'm grinding the cruisers, and we go to, like, we're on Phoenix. So if I go to equipment, so we're on Phoenix, and I've got Thomas Franklin here, right? So I'm grinding this line. It's probably not going to be a 15-point captain, but I've got a captain on my Phoenix. And I get enough XP to unlock the Omaha. one of the choices that you have to make as a player is, do I take that captain from my Phoenix, or whichever ship it is you're on, and move it to the next one? So the next ship up from this is Omaha. So if you look down here, the tier 5, it's Omaha. So when I move to Omaha, do I start a new captain and keep the Phoenix and keep the captain on the Phoenix, or do I move the captain up to the Omaha? That's a decision you have to make. And it has to do with, are you going to try and keep the entire line as you move through it, or are you going to sell the ships as you go and take that experienced commander with you and get more points on that commander? That's a choice you have to make. If you decide the latter one and you decide to move the captain up through the ships as you go down the line, the problem you're going to come across is Thomas is currently trained on my Phoenix. He is not trained for any other tech tree ship. And so as I go and move him to Omaha, what it's going to do is actually show you. Shall I show you? Let me just show you. I can do that. So we go 4, 5, not the 10. So I go to Omaha. If I just kick off the captain that's on here a moment, so Robert here. If I kick him off, forget he ever existed. So I go to my Phoenix, and so I've just unlocked my Omaha. Yeah, no worries, Neo, no worries. So I take Thomas from my Phoenix, and I won't do it the mod way, I'll do it the proper way. So I go to the ship. I've got a mod installed that allows you to move the commanders this way. I won't confuse you. So I go to Omaha, and I go assign commander. And then I go through and find my captain from my Phoenix. So he'll be under assigned to ships. I scroll down until I find him. He was, what, a 15 point? Something like that. Phoenix, Thomas Franklin. So this symbol here, read the orange text. Moving the commander to his ship will require retraining. Okay? So when I click this, it's gonna bring up this retrain commander. This has nothing to do with the skills that you've chosen. So that table of all the different skills, that has nothing to do with this. Okay, it does have a little bit to do with the number of points, because the amount of resources it costs to do this is related to the number of points the captain has. The more points a captain has, the more expensive it is to move them. But you have several options. So one of them is that you can retrain instantly by paying. So I just used doubloons. So maybe you don't mind paying, or maybe you've got some free doubloons out of a crate or a mission or something like that. You can use doubloons to pay for it. The bottom option is free retraining. So you put the captain on the ship, and then you have to earn this amount of commander XP by playing the ship, the new ship, in order to get through that retraining and then carry on accumulating XP. Now, honestly, at tier 5, if you got to a point where you earned 50,000 commander XP as a new player, you've probably finished the ship in terms of being able to unlock this tier 6 before you've actually finished retraining the captain, because this takes quite a long time, 50,000 XP, because you're probably not going to have that many boosters available. Another option is to use Elite Commander XP to retrain instantly. So you have to choose one of these three. It's not an easy option. So let's say I go with the free retraining, just as an example. So now Thomas is no longer my Phoenix captain. It's like he forgets about being a Phoenix captain. And if I put him back on my Phoenix captain, I have to go through that again. And you'll notice that now he has this retraining in progress against his name. And I can press that to bring up the same options I had before. Or I can play through. Now, obviously, if I've got boosters, I can load commander XP boosters. This is commander XP. I can load commander XP boosters to help that process along a little bit. But basically, I have to play and chat. I'm getting to it. Don't interrupt. I have to play Omaha in order to complete this retraining process. Once the bar fills up, I can then carry on getting points on the captain. And until I've actually done that, the skills are completely inactive, and it's effectively like I'm playing a 0-point commander. It's like I don't have a commander on the ship at all. Okay? So he's basically sitting on the bridge going, oh, boat, basically, until you finished. But there is another little trick, which is what chat sitting on their hands right now trying not to type it. And that is that you can use premium ships in order to do this bit. So you can take Thomas Franklin and you can put him, because you can move captains with no penalty. So what I can do is he's now in training for my Omaha, but I can take him and I can put him on my Texas. Say, so if you happen to have a Texas or an Oklahoma or a Marblehead or any premium ship or any special ship from any tier, I can take, so I happen to have a Texas here, I can say assign commander, I can go and find him, so he's assigned to ships, we see 15, there he is, Omaha, Thomas Franklin, no penalty because it's a premium, and so now I can give him some battleship skills, and I can go and play and regrind this. And the beauty of this is that because he's not on the because he's not on the Omaha, he's on the Texas, his skills will work. So I can give him a battleship build. Whatever, I'm not actually building him here, but I can give him a build. And I can play the Texas with that build, with those points working. And I can run through this, and with boosters, that's not going to take very long. I'm playing a properly pointed ship with skills on a premium ship. And once this is complete, I can then go back to the Omaha, put him back on the Omaha, and I can carry on training him on the Omaha. And you can also, doing this, you can also take advantage of the daily bonuses, because quite often you get these daily bonuses from the battle pass. If it's a weekend, if it's a special like public holiday or whatever, sometimes you get like 200% bonuses, especially like over Christmas and places like that. And then what you can do is you can go around and you can play Thomas Franklin on your Texas, and then your Oklahoma, and then your Marblehead, and then your Alaska, and you can get those daily win bonuses on each of those ships. And that will speed up that process considerably, because you can, so like, for example, I can click on my Oklahoma and I can go assign commander and I can find him. Don't forget, he's now on my Texas. I can assign him to the Oklahoma. Now he's on the Oklahoma. And then if I go back to the Omaha, and I can use recall commander, of course, he's still in training because I haven't played those games. It doesn't require you to get the XP on the ship that he's going to be trained on. No. So he sits on the bridge of the Omaha going, boat. Boat. But you can take him off and put him on a Texas, and suddenly he's like really intelligent, highly trained captain. But while he's playing the Texas, he learns how to drive the Omaha. Makes no sense. None. Zero. And the game doesn't explain this to you. Does that make sense? I think that was a pretty good run through. I'm going to make a stream marker. How captains work. There you go. Yeah, so it's a... It gives people a reason to buy premiums, basically. 2 years of playing, you didn't know that? Yeah, because the game doesn't explain it to you. And I don't think most of that detail is in the tutorial videos either. It's probably in the wiki, but I don't think it's anywhere else. Yeah, the explanation makes sense, and it makes sense now why it doesn't make sense. Yeah, exactly. So let's put Thomas back here on the Phoenix, and now I'll show you that mod and the reason why I have it. So instead of having to go scrolling through that list, what I can do with this mod, this is called Ship Assign, I think it's called. This used to be the game UI. So this is what the game looked like about 5 years ago. You can right click here and you can go assign to cruiser, a huge list of all the cruisers in US. And then I go Phoenix. And then it's as though I went through the captain interface. But this time I'm going to pay. So that time I paid. So now when I go to the Phoenix, he's already trained and ready to progress on the Phoenix. And I can go back to my Omaha. Now, one other thing here is that the Omaha commander that I had originally, I put him in reserve, but he's still trained on Omaha. So I can recall him. So he'll be in reserve Omaha. I think it was this guy. Pretty sure. I can recall him, and he's happy because he never lost his training because I didn't move him to another tech tree ship. No, so you cannot. Sorry, I forgot to say that. So you can only transfer commanders within the nation. So you can take that trained Omaha captain and put it on any American special ship or premium ship with no penalty. You can put it on any American tech tree ship with a penalty, with a retraining penalty. But you can't move it to another nation. There are a couple of exceptions. There are a couple of special captains which are multi-nation. You can use them on 2 nations, like Soviet and American, or American and Pan-Asian or whatever. But there aren't very many of those, and you probably don't have, because they were from special events. So almost all of the captains are single nation. All right, makes sense. Everyone understand?